All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here at Alta Realty Group. And today we're going to talk about the importance of high quality real estate photography, not taking photos with your iPhone. And we're going to be joined by Paolo Biancalani from Preview First. So this is a really important webinar. This is something that we just can't stress enough. So we will always be making sure that you guys have great photography. So before we get into today's presentation, we're going to bring Bill Seitz, our corporate broker, on the line. Good morning, Bill. How you doing today?
Good. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, everybody.
All right. And so, Bill, yesterday we sent out a broker tip. You want to just go over that real quick before we get into today's presentation?
Yeah, this is just kind of more housekeeping items
Yeah.
for just your files and your TCs. Obviously managing a brokerage of our, mid-size, uh, you know, mid-size brokerage. We have obviously a lot of files that are existing at any period of time. Some are close to closing, some are just getting uploaded, some are middle of the road, and obviously one of the fields that you input or your TC inputs for you is your close of escrow date. But as we know in this business, a lot of times those dates get pushed out because the file is not ready to close or there's some issue, or sometimes they move forward and you end up closing early. And what happens is if we don't update those close of escrow dates, it really affects the efficiency of us reviewing your files and making sure they're signed off in a timely fashion. Because in the perfect world, you get your file done, you get everything uploaded, you get signed for the CDA, and off you go, get your commission, and the file gets buttoned up. But as you can imagine, what happens is that people put in, let's say, a close of escrow date of let's just say November 30th, and they're trying to close on the 20th, but in our system it says the 30th, and then at the last minute, it's like, oh, well, we're closing tomorrow. Can we get the CDA? So that, it not just doesn't only affect us internally, but affects everybody because, of course, we want to, help as much as we can, but there's also we can't just jump file to file on a whim when people haven't changed or updated their close of escrow date. And so it's really a helpful task. Everyone can remind their TCs, or if you remind yourself to make sure that those are accurate. And when the dates do change them, because it only benefits everybody. And so that's just a little reminder on that. Also, to that end, just file dumping. If you're new agent to our company, obviously we just, file dumping is basically unloading half of your file in one dump the day before it closes and expecting a CDA. That's just not a realistic way to to participate in this process. Obviously, over the years, we've gotten a lot more disclosures. We've got a lot more things to make sure that are executed properly. One, for your protection as an agent, so you don't need to go use the E&O insurance. And number two, protection for the brokerage and your client. So while some of the stuff seems like, it's all necessary. It's all part of the industry that we work in. And really, I look at it like this. It's like working with a bank. When we submit a loan, the loan gets submitted, right? And then we upload, like United Wholesale, they expect us not to have more than 3 touches on a file. And what that means is not uploading documents or conditions more than 3 times before it gets cleared to close and in actually closing the loan. And so we're docked on metrics if we are uploading 5, 6, 7 times. We actually get dinged for our metrics because they know that it's inefficient. And so if you can think about it like that, when you upload your documents with your TC, it really should be no more than 3 or 4 uploads. It should be, if you're taking a listing, you take the listing, you get the listing contract, you get your agency, you get all those preliminary documents out of the way. Boom, that's your first upload. Number two, you get into contract. Now you have your contract, you've got your supporting disclosures there, any counter offers, any addendums. That's your second upload, right? And then your third upload should be all your disclosures, reports, investigations, anything that's in that framework. And then you should be pretty close to getting your CDA at closing. There's always a couple trailing documents, like your settlement statement or your MLS showing us closed out. But ideally, that is the way that these uploads should happen. You shouldn't be dumping 50 documents in one time 24 hours before closing. And I think everybody can understand why that is inefficient. So not to beat a dead horse, but it's always good reminders for everybody because everyone benefits from being efficient.
Yeah, we always stress efficiency and streamlining everything we possibly can here at Alta, so that helps as well. Thank you for that, Bill. So before we get into today's presentation, let's bring Debbie Zacconi from Clearview Mortgage on the line. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, everyone. I'm
Yes.
kind of stuffy this morning. Sorry about that. So I'm just gonna say a little snippet about, rates are still like we just got a notice this morning already. First thing, rates are higher than when they started this morning. I don't know why yet. But so in this, kind of market where rates are going up and down like literally every day. Sometimes they go up 2 or 3 times a day. Sometimes they come down 2 or 3 times a day. And it's just interesting right now. When you're just observing, you're just kind of shaking your head. And so, but in this time, I'll tell you, I don't know if it was because of the election or what, but my phone is ringing off the hook. People are feeling more confident to buy, I guess. I don't know, but things will, I think, get better. What I've been reading is that rates will be coming down, prices of homes may be going up, or not may, they will. They will be going up. So just one quick little reminder, I think I touched on it last week a little bit, but it's really, really important to know that you can, there's several different ways to buy the interest rate down these days, okay? The buyer can buy the rate down, and there's a variety of rates and costs. So if the rate is 7.25% or 7%, let's say for no origination points, they could buy it down to 5.75%. So, and it might cost 10,000, 20,000, whatever, depending on the loan amount, because the cost is a percentage of the loan amount. So that could be done where the buyer can buy the rate down permanently. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't do that, because when rates come down and they could refinance, the cost of a refinance is going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than paying all that money to buy that rate down now. But why not have the seller do it? I just had a recent situation. I'm going to tell you how much this cost. And it's helping the buyer get a lower interest rate. So the purchase price is 1.717 million. Loan amount 1,373,600. You don't have to memorize that. And so the rate today for that could vary depending on points, but 0 origination points, which no bank even tells people a rate that is no origination points. But if you really want no origination points, it's around like 7.75, let's say, or maybe even less, maybe down to 7.25. We can kind of do that, but we can have the seller buy it down. So it's a seller paid buy down. So basically it would cost 32,000. And when you're talking about a $1.717 million place, adding 32,000 onto the purchase price, if that's what you had to do, would allow the seller to pay that cost and have the buyer have the first year 5.75%, the second year 6.75%, and the third through the 30th year 7.75%. But guess what? Let's say that next year, and he's going to still be in his first year, rates come down to 5.75 or even lower than that. Let's say he wants to refinance so he can get that rate permanently on his loan. The cost for the buy down was $32,000 total. And whatever he didn't use of that buy down cost, when someone is doing a refinance, gets refunded back to them in the form of, when we get the payoff demand, it's that much less on the payoff. So it's like credited towards the payoff of the loan. So that is how that works. And anyway, just want to make you aware of those different kinds of buy downs. That's one of them. There's another one where if the rate right now today is 7.75 for that loan amount, it can be bought down for the first and the second year at 6.75% for 20,000. Again, seller paid for that. There are so many different types of buy downs, so give me a call if you want to price out a buy down on a loan. And I hope you guys have a very successful and awesome rest of your week.
Thank you, Debbie. As always, very good information. We really appreciate that. So
Yeah,
now we are,
Kevin, just
yeah, go ahead,
Kevin,
Bill.
just real quick,
Sure.
just to add to that. And really what this is an interim tool, right? If we know that, you know, that the rate environment's going to get better, and you have somebody that's willing to buy now, but they're hesitant because of payment shock, or they're just like, you know what I mean? I can't stomach 7%. Well, you're giving them a pathway to do this. And like Debbie said, that credit doesn't go to waste. It goes to a principal reduction. So it goes off of your loan balance. You end up refinancing in that first or second year. So it's really a win-win. Can't emphasize this enough. You have to know these tools. You got to have to be able to use them as an asset for yourself. And so, yeah, just keep that in mind. It's worth having these conversations. Hey, if you could get in at 5, you know, in the low to mid 5%, would you do it? You know, and I think most people will be very open to understanding this concept. So,
Yeah, no, very, very good point, Bill. So utilize Debbie and Bill and the team over there at Clearview Mortgage, and they will help you out. So we are going to now switch gears, and we're going to bring Paolo Biancalani from Preview First on the line. Good morning, Paolo. How are you doing today?
Let me start my video here. I'm wondering why I'm not able to start the video. Hopefully, Kevin, you can hear me.
Yeah, of course. And I have enabled your screen sharing, so you can now
Okay.
share your screen.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everybody. Yeah, sorry, I should have been on earlier, having a little technical problems. It's kind of funny that media company with technical problems.
Oh, Paolo, we've seen it all for 8, 9 years of webinars every Wednesday. So yeah, it's all part of live webinars, which is fun. So
Okay,
real quick, Paolo has been our go-to photographer and photography team for about 4 or 5 years now, right, Paolo?
Yes, yeah. No, it's been a great, I call it a partnership.
Yeah, of course.
You know, your photography partner. And you know, over and above I think the high quality, reasonably priced product that we or service we provide to your team, is I want to kind of update you on some things that I see either giving certain clients of mine, whether they're top producers, and I'll if your team, if you got some new team members that are not familiar with us, I'll give the little spiel as to who Preview First is in our space, who some of the clients are that we work with, and I may drop some names in a sense just to quickly establish credibility, because I want to also see what I'm seeing being very effective with those groups, and hopefully, encourage you to consider implementing some of those marketing strategies, both with what remains of 2024 and definitely I see trends lining up into 2025 and beyond in the real estate industry. And we're one of the larger teams in the United States doing this. So we get exposure to things that the independent photographer that you possibly might be using is not exposed to. So, and quite frankly, at the end of this, you could implement what I'm going to share here with whoever you want to work with. I'm hoping it'll be me and my team, but I want to leave you with a little bit of goodwill information that you can immediately apply, because it's absolutely having great effect with some of my clients' marketing strategies. So.
That's fantastic, Paolo. That's why we bring you on here. You're the expert.
All right, let me share. I'll start by, let me grab, where's that share screen, little share button gone? I just saw it. All right, grab. I'm going to grab.
Perfect.
So, okay, so you're currently sharing. I'm going to share this. So everybody's seeing the same Preview First website, right?
Correct. That is
Okay,
perfect.
great. Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm going to
thank
jump
you.
in. So, as was playing kind of on Kevin's screen there, take a look at who we are in our space very briefly. We're, I think, the second or the third largest team of our kind on the West Coast, definitely in regards to luxury, which is what we're also known for. And you'll see my team's work, and we're a large real estate photography team. So we're actually their Preview First employees, unlike a lot of our bigger competitors, national competitors. And we are just regional. Just again, we're as per the webpage there, Southern California. So my team, my employees shoot for me from Santa Barbara County all the way down to San Diego County. So all along the coast, and then inland to about as far as the Coachella Valley, if you're familiar with Palm Springs, Indian Wells, all of that, out to the Coachella Valley. So a large service territory, but again, we are just Southern California. But given the scope and the scale and the size of my team, I'm big enough that I am speaking to some of the big platforms about things. And one of them I'm definitely going to have covered before with you guys. I'm going to cover it again because Zillow is still the elephant. I don't know what your opinion of Zillow is. So I'm going to try to stay as neutral as possible in regard to that platform. I'll show you that they still have about 60 to 65% market share. Thank goodness. I think it's healthy for our industry. Homes.com are coming on strong. And if you're not or familiar with them, I'll touch on Homes.com briefly. Andy Florence, who owns CoStar, bought Homes.com not too long ago. And CoStar's mission statement is your listing, your lead. And they definitely are maintaining that with their involvement and their management of Homes.com. So it's really good for our industry. And I'll touch on that and what I recommend and suggest in regards to those. So going to cover the big platforms, going to cover some other things that I'm seeing happening in our space. But again, very quickly, I'm one of the premier teams. We're an award-winning real estate photography company, working with the people you see on the shows that operate here in SoCal. The $1 Million Listing Show, Selling Sunset, Selling OC. I get to work with celebrity listings, A-listers. We market their properties. I work with the properties you see in Wall Street Journal, exclusive property of the week. We recently shot the Jimi Hendrix property for Sue Wong, who owns that. We'll touch on that and the marketing that she and her agent, Christoph Chu, who's a celebrity agent, implemented with us, and that I'm seeing a lot of my busy clients implement. So, and it's not just for 10, 20, 50, $60 million properties, which my team shoots. It's the $250,000 condo, $500,000, $1 million properties. A lot of my busy clients are adding immersive marketing, and we'll touch on that. I'll touch on that too. So again, if you're not familiar with us, take a look at our website. Here's that Wall Street Journal property of the week, the Jimi Hendrix property, $32 million property that added what we're going to touch on today, which is Zillow 3D, which I'm highlighting here. And again, it's multiple properties are adding 3D. $60 million property in that was at one point the record listing in Orange County. We didn't do it for that was Bill Gates' property. So I'm just trying to quickly establish credibility with you. This was the Prince of Saudi Arabia's place we shot in Bel Air. It was on the Robb Report. If you're familiar with the global luxury Robb Report, This was the Tom Cruise property. This was the $32 million property that sold in 4 days in Laguna Beach that made the news, again with 3D. So hopefully you guys are hearing this consistent message about 3D. And we're going to cover, like, in even luxury communities, how many properties are adding 3D. Just go on Zillow, go on Redfin, and do a search around in all respective markets, and you're going to see how they favor listings with immersive marketing like video and 3D on all platforms. So, it's immersive marketing, right? And 3D. And a lot of my clients have I don't get it, but they have a pretty negative opinion about 3D. But all the reports show big numbers. Consumers are interested, love immersive marketing in regards to 3D and marketing methods like and approaches like 3D. And quite frankly, there's some of them, these studies are showing they would switch agents if they saw an agent that was competing for their listing that had a more of immersive marketing approach versus another agent that was more traditional with just still photography only. All right, so let's jump in here. So I'm going to touch, and I think I'm going to go through these slides relatively quickly because we simply, Kevin, remind me how much time I have, because I can move really quickly, or I can kind of linger on some things that I think.
Paolo, this is really important stuff, but we normally, end around 9:30. So,
Okay.
Up to you. You go a few
Totally.
minutes over, not a big deal. This is really important stuff. So,
Okay, great. So I'll, because I suffer from a lack of brevity, so I'm going to put a timer on myself. Just to advise you. So some of the stuff that I'm covering here, I do, I have brand partners like you, and we'll do an hour-long training on it. So I'm going to cover very quickly again. Let me move this over here so this is out of my way. I'm going to move this taskbar down here. Okay, so if you are using us, and I hope you are, build us into your pitch. We are an award-winning team, and quite frankly, photography is still by far the #1 demanded home shopping feature for home shoppers, and it should be, and it shows in all the research studies, it is of importance to sellers in considering services. So I will touch on again that immersive marketing I mentioned earlier, because that is also really like second in mind when people are considering your services or an alternate agent or brokerage's services. So, but we are, again, you say I don't compromise on my marketing. I work with an award-winning architectural photography company. They literally shoot for the stars. They shoot for my listings too, and we do. So the same team, just so you know, when you have, whether it's Josh or Michaelan or Kyrene or whoever you're using on our team, we have a very large team. They're all trained to shoot the preview first way. So, and none of them edit their photos. They're all production only team members. So we have an incredible post-production team that maintains the standard of our product across Southern California. So that is the opportunity with Preview First. And we have, of course, we offer more than just photography. So we offer a full suite of services that cover your full marketing approach, typical current marketing approach to marketing condos and apartments, or multi-million-dollar properties, or 50, 60, $100 million properties. And we've shot them. Okay. Okay. So moving on. Okay, so again, that's the pitch. If you want it, I'm gonna send Kevin these slides that I'm going through here, so you'll have this to be able to parse this out and use this in your own marketing. And hopefully, like clients report back to me, we actually do offer another point of difference to their pitch in regards to approaching and going and gunning for listings. So we've been in business for over 2 decades now, so we know what we're doing with this stuff. We shot about 350,000 homes as a team. So this is the trend, right? 2025, I think by the end of 2024, we're going to see the numbers are actually going to exceed, in regards to negative, the transactional numbers from last year. So we're in this unfortunate decline. We're hoping 2025 is going to be better, but marketing points of difference have been significant for a couple years, and I think they're going to be even more significant in 2025. So let's go on to here. So again, you'll have a summary of what my team services start at. Quite frankly, I know what in the LA market a luxury shoot should cost, and it starts at about $1,000. I started $175 for my photography services. But when we are busy, 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 we can do 100 shoots a day. So we're a luxury photography team that is based upon large scale production, and my rates are extremely competitive. I'm very difficult to compete with when you factor everything you're getting from Preview First, all the
Yeah,
infrastructure. Yeah.
and Paolo, it's a perfect marriage because, the Alta Realty Group commission structure is set up for the agent to keep most of the commissions so they can do things like this. They can pay for these amazing things. And this is very inexpensive, guys, especially, the kind of the entry level stuff. Every single listing deserves this kind of attention to detail and this kind of professional approach. So go ahead, Paolo.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate that, Kevin. Yeah, thank you. And again, all it does is it makes you more competitive. Like the recommendation I have in regards to adding that 3D product, and we're going to cover it here in a bit, called Zillow 3D. I couldn't recommend it anymore. I don't care who you use. I want you to absolutely implement it with your next listing and watch the difference on what is still the country's #1 preferred home shopping platform for real estate, which is Zillow. And it's free. All the benefits that I'm going to cover are absolutely free to you. It's you coming in, and I'll explain it in a bit. It's a total legal hack into putting steroids in your listing and bypassing the pay-to-play team, which is kind of historically how Zillow operate, and it's their business model and represents about $6 billion of their business. But they have two teams. They have the product development team and they have the play to pay team, or pay to play team. And we worked with the product development team to help them list what is the fourth listed item here on the list. And for my employees to come out and capture the spatial data needed to then have Zillow generate one of those Zillow 3D tours, that's not free. So when I say the benefits are free, it's all the treatments that happen to your listing after my team submits all that spatial data to Zillow. And I'll cover that in a bit. The benefits are not insignificant. And again, considering where most of your potential clients and the buyers you're trying to attract, interest for your listings with, they're shopping on that platform. The other platform is, of course, Redfin has still some market share, and homes.com is definitely acquiring market share as far as eyeballs daily, and they're not taking them from Zillow. They're getting them from realtor.com and Redfin, and I'll show you data points that confirm that here in a bit. Okay, so photos are still king by far. Consumers still, like, when all the surveys come out, whether they're the NAR trends reports or they're the Zillow housing report, which quite frankly, many critics of Zillow say is pretty objective. So whatever your opinions of Zillow are, you all should be looking at that Zillow housing report annually. It's pretty informative, and it's, according to even the critics of Zillow, it's pretty objective. So they all point that photos are still #1. But guess what is #2 to consumers, whether they're home shoppers or home sellers, is floor plans. How many of you guys are providing consumers with floor plans with your listings? I know that number is low because I see the national numbers. I see the SoCal numbers. Most of my busy clients provide floor plans with every single one of their listings. It's not lost in them what is, what it is that consumers are looking for. And the key to your success is understand the appetites of your target market, your target audience, and absolutely feed it to them. That's just marketing 101. So I'm telling you, whoever you use, make sure you're providing them floor plans. And if you can provide them with interactive floor plans where they can spatially understand your listings, even better. And that's what Zillow 3D does. And I'll show you here that in a bit when I'll show you online what that does for you guys in your listings. And again, remember, the benefits I'm going to show you all are free. That 4-letter word is not usually, people use other words, the 4-letter words, when I hear them talk to me about Zillow. And again, I'm going to try to stay neutral, but I don't own a dime of Zillow stock. I'm going to tell you that as your marketing photography partner, I highly recommend you consider doing this. Okay, so and guess what's #3 on the NAR Trends Report, Zillow Housing Report, is your contact information. So right after floor plans, buyers want access to the listing agents, and that is the NAR Trends. And that's literally consecutively for multiple years. It's been right below floor plans, and floor plans have been right below photos.
And also,
And
Paolo, this
yeah,
stuff becomes part of the agent's, listing presentation. This is how
totally.
you get the next, listing. So
Yeah, absolutely. You're not only the local area specialist, you're informed about all the major platforms that consumers go to shop real estate. So and I challenge you, like, learn this information, learn these nuggets of information, and in a listing presentation, I would drop this. I mean, I'm sure you got multiple other great points of difference that you guys are covering, but when you're presenting your services versus, and if they're a savvy seller, they're going to be interviewing multiple agents, right? Doing the due diligence. But unfortunately, the data says and supports that they're really thinking like 70% of them are really favoring one agent they already are planning to do business with. So your job, if you get into that living room, or if you're at the door or you're on the phone, quickly drop that nuggets about the big platforms and say, look, I would love to be considered, but whoever you're going to work with, please, I implore you, make sure they're adding this immersive marketing to your listing. Not only is it what consumers are looking for, the search algorithms are absolutely programmed to look for it and favor listings with it. And I absolutely make sure every single one of my listings have it. So whoever you're working with, please, free bit of advice, make sure you're adding this little piece of marketing to your listing. It really does make a difference on these big platforms. It's what consumers want when evaluating one listing versus another. So okay, so and then of course video, and it's all important, but definitely it's, if you were asking me what to prioritize because your budget's tight or you have a limited budget, I would absolutely tell you great listing photos, and make sure they leave the metadata in there too, because as I mentioned earlier, those search algorithms are programmed to look for it. They absolutely know if somebody shot photos on a cell phone or a professional DSLR camera. So my team leaves all the metadata in our photos. So you can geotag, you can do all this wonderful stuff that you're supposed to be doing anyway. So whoever you're using, make sure they do that. Make sure they're also using Flash. I mean, I can do a complete separate training on what you should be getting in your photos, because it's not just what consumers want, it's what all these algorithms are programmed to look for and evaluate. And believe it or not, I've spoken to people that had a hand in the Google search algorithm, and they are evaluating the quality of the photos, and it absolutely plays into SEO. So just be aware. There's a lot. I'm throwing a lot at you here, but let's go back to what I want you guys to really think about today, and hopefully I'll leave you with this piece of this recommendation to absolutely be adding floor plans, and if you can, even better, make sure they're AI, so artificial intelligence driven floor plans that give consumers spatial, so that in a real-time manner they can navigate around your listings and understand those spaces, because that's exactly what they're really looking for from you. Okay, and then be able to explain that this is why you do this for your listings to potential clients that you're hoping to do business with. So, but for sure, video has value. So if you're implementing video, good job. The other thing I will tell you is show up in your videos. If you follow Tom Ferry and Brian Buffini, Tom is, and I've spoken to the Ferry International recently about this too. I was up at their Irvine office, and they were looking at me like deers in the headlight. They did not know about the Zillow 3D advantage. So trust me, it's not, if you like, how come I've never heard of this? I'm a premier agent, or because it's not generally known. Okay, and I'm talking clients like Tim Smith, Tom Ferry, all these guys did not know about this. It's fascinating the way Zillow's rolled this product out in the US.
and Paolo,
Okay,
you
so
told me about this a long time ago, how
yeah,
they
oh
and
my
what
word. Hmm.
and what they do, of course, is if you're utilizing their products and their stuff, they boost your listings because they want the best listings to come up first, right? That's how it works.
Absolutely. You're totally right. So if you go back to that, if you do a search, right, and you go to Zillow and you go on Zillow, you will see, of course, you'll see properties that their algorithms programmed to bring up that have 3D tours attached to them, right? But you'll also see the showcase listing thing, right? So are you familiar with the Showing Time Plus
Yes.
program? Okay. So Zillow will tell you, hey, you need to sign up for Showing Time Plus. The last I heard, it was about $1,100 a listing, and then you get benefits. They'll add the Zillow 3D tour to it, boost you to the top of the search results. Your listing plays out. Like if I had to click on this, It plays out kind of like a slideshow, which is fine. I mean, but most studies show consumers could care less about the slideshow. They want to see the photos. So they're going to go right there anyway, and they're going to start cycling through the photos, right? And then as you see, it says listed by Tara, right? But just so you know, right now on a desktop, I'm doing what only about 10 to 15% of people do on Zillow, which is use my laptop, my Mac, my PC to look at Zillow. Like 80 to 90% of people navigate Zillow mobily on their phones. That's just, and most people look at most things initially with regards to real estate, believe it or not, on their phones. So when you go on your phone and you look at this listing, it plays out slightly differently. And I'm going to show you some slides on how simply by adding a Zillow 3D, it gets treated very, very similarly to as if you had paid to join the Showing Time Plus opportunity. And by simply adding the Zillow 3D, you get about 8 of the 10 benefits for free. So, and it's because their play-to-play team would not want me sharing this with you, but the product development team have a different set of marching orders. They're all about market share and how sticky is the platform and adding products that make the consumer experience better on Zillow. And they don't have to monetize products like the pay-to-play team do. So I worked with the product development team, and we actually played a small role in launching this product here in the United States. We ran a pilot program for them down in San Diego almost 5 years ago, and helped them launch this product about 4 years ago. Like you said, Kevin, I've been speaking to you for years about this. This has been one of my recommendations, and there's only a small percentage of the market doing this, like 2 to 3%. But yeah, they will encourage you to, hey, join the Showing Time Plus, look at all the wonderful things that you get. And consumers don't want this. They don't want the slideshow, believe it or not. They're like, okay, so there's like 3 photos cycling around in a carousel. I want to see the photos. They're going to do that.
I know, it's annoying if anything.
So just to be aware, just to be real with you when looking at the data, right? So okay, so let's move on. So if you've seen that Showing Time Plus, and what Zillow realized is that consumers didn't want to pay $1,100 a listing, like agents. And then, because I know like there's some bigger clients of mine that signed up for the deal where they give you a slight little discount if you do like their $5,000 a month deal with them. So you get 5 listings. So it's like $1,000. You save $100. And the big ones I've spoken to are not renewing that because they tested it out. They always want, okay, what's next? Let's try it. To see if it gives us any kind of market advantage. And I said to them, guys, stop doing that. Just simply add the Zillow 3D with us and you get most of the benefits. And that's what they're doing. So here we go. Okay, so let's keep on. So yeah, so you'll have all these data points here. Hey, like I said, video is important. The 7 montage one, if you click it here or even on the photo, it'll run the branded video that my team shot for this $32 million listing that sold in 4 days. It was in the OC Register and some other news outlets about it. And you'll see Randy Ora mic'd up saying, hey, welcome to my listing here. And then he does an outro. I think we did a couple cameos too throughout the video, like the subterranean pool and some other real cool features that this home had. But so video has its importance, and particularly with luxury and ultra luxury. So not to be discounted, but if you're saying I have a tight budget, then I would advise you great photos, add a Zillow 3D tour before anything else. Like right now, until they monetize this thing, the product development team have not monetized this opportunity for you guys. The pay to play team have, but there's, like I said, there's like 2 teams on Zillow, like 2 departments. Okay, so moving on. So video does have, importance. I need to update this at the end. We're going to find it's like 85% by the end of 2024. All content on the web will have been video, like 85% of it will have been video. Just kind of wrap your minds around that. YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world, and it's the #1 platform to put real estate video on. I'll let that sink in. Everyone thinks it's Instagram and now trending over to TikTok. It's still YouTube. So hopefully if you guys are doing video for your listings, you're putting them on YouTube. Okay. I mean, Instagram and all that's important too, but don't neglect to put your listing videos up on YouTube. And if you can, show up in your videos, you personalize your marketing, Tom Ferry says, then you're more inclined to get the I know you, I like you, I want to do business with you phone calls. Okay. Okay, so okay, 85% of surveyed sellers said they prefer to work with an agent who employs video marketing, and only 15% of agents do in SoCal. Okay, a lot of my busy clients do. Okay, it's all about driving consumer engagement, guys. So like I said, that Tom Ferry quote, and if you follow Tom Ferry, you know this quote. Okay, okay. Moving on. So I mentioned Tim Smith. If you from SoCal, you probably know this gentleman. Very known for his crazy videos. Don't
Oh
shoot all
yeah,
of
we
those
know Tim
videos.
Smith.
So I did
My
not do
favorite
that.
is
We
what
did
was
not
it?
do
Teach
that.
me how to Duffy.
I'm glad you brought that up. So we did not do that Duffy video. Tim hired like a dance troupe from LA and a film production team that ran him over 50 grand, that video. So
I bet it was amazing. I mean, it was just fantastic. But yeah, 50 grand. I don't know how many people.
yeah. So yeah. So I mean, the home it was like only I don't I want to because I don't want to seem like what facetious, or it was a $15 million home in Corona. Was it Corona Del? It was like Newport Back Bay or something like that. It was more about marketing his brand, and I've spoken to Tim, and by the way, Tim did not know about, because Tim's a big Matterport supporter, right? And do you know who recently bought Matterport?
No.
Homes.com. So technically CoStar did.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's so I've been speaking to Homes.com like before the Super Bowl last year about some things, and they told me they were about to launch their $1 billion marketing campaign to compete directly with Zillow. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen in marketing. I mean, the #1 incumbent platform, right, in the United States for real estate, and you're taking them head on with $1 billion of marketing. And they've implemented, and it's been really effective at getting market share. But what is fascinating is they haven't, and I'll show you the data point here in a bit, they have not taken market share from Zillow. They've taken it from the other competing platforms. So, but they definitely are being effective with their marketing in the marketplace. But my understanding was that marketing strategy was really to go after Zillow without kind of just saying, hey, we're the better Zillow, or just by showing consumer value and showing that their platform is about marketing the listing in a way that's also favorable to the agent. So if you ever go on there, you'll see right away you guys are listed, and that's both desktop and mobile. Unlike Zillow, Realtor.com, and Redfin, go on their mobile devices, which is how most people look at your listings, and try and identify the listing agent. It's challenging. In Zillow, you like page 3, you're buried down in the facts and features section.
Oh yeah,
So
that's on purpose.
it's total. I've designed websites, so it seems, I got to be careful. It seems very intentional. So, but by adding the Zillow 3D, it disables that in the photo carousel, which is how most people navigate Zillow. And I'll show you that in a bit. So, so these are hyperlinks. You'll be able to see examples, when you guys get the slide deck to go through. And here's a good reasons why you should consider adding the Zillow 3Ds. These are not insignificant numbers. If on Zillow you could show a potential client, hey, look, here's a previous listing of mine. It got 20% more views and 20% more saves. And it had far more market interest than other competing listings without this type of marketing. But the numbers are more like 60, 79%. I mean, 83% so these are all the surveys done by Zillow, of course. And some of them are outside Zillow, but where 83% of sellers said sight unseen purchases more likely with 3D tours. I mean, these numbers are not insignificant in showing the value of adding immersive marketing like 3D to your listings, especially on this platform, which is still the #1 go-to platform for home shoppers. Okay. So, and you'll have all these data points too to be able to kind of understand, and then maybe when it makes sense, drop these numbers in a listing presentation. Okay.
For sure. I love it.
So regardless of your opinion, because a lot of my clients do not like 3D, okay? They feel it negates the purpose for them. It can, at times eliminate their listing when someone's had a real, like an extensive time looking through every corner of that listing. But without it, you're at such a market disadvantage based upon the data points I've just shared and the information I'm about to quickly share. And I know I'm going to be running long here unless I move along. So, let's see. Oh, I've gone so long already. So I apologize. Let me hustle this up a bit. So, okay. They have market share. This is an old report back in 2022. So it was for 2023 consumption. It showed 63% market share, Zillow versus Realtor.com and Redfin. Homes.com wasn't even on the map back then. Okay. So Zillow had 3 times their near market share, the eyeballs of their nearest competitor. Okay. They had over almost 2 billion visits to their platform every month, 200 million unique visits to their platform every month. I mean, we would all die for those numbers, right? So, so you can't avoid them. They're the elephant in the room, right? Half of America browses Zillow every week. Just let that sink in, okay? So here comes homes.com. Huge ascension, incredible ascension, right? And again, as I stated, Andy Florence's motto is consistent with both CoStar and now into homes.com. Your listing, your lead. And that genuinely seems to be the current approach. They do have a pay-to-play relationship, and I'm not telling you to enter into that. It ain't cheap. It's actually more expensive from what I see than Zillow. They do have free profiles, which I recommend every single one of you should have. As I highly recommend you should have your Zillow profile in place too. So Zillow, you should have your free Zillow profile. You should have your free homes.com profile. This is where they're currently sitting. This was the latest data. So as you can see, Zillow by far is still the number one platform for consumers to go to for home shopping. But look at homes.com, how they've come on. It's pretty incredible, actually. So they're sit as number 2 now in the nation as far as platforms, and people aren't aware of this. So so you want to be visible on both, and absolutely I recommend you get that free homes.com profile. Again, they pay to play. It ain't cheap, and I've seen some clients that have tried it, and they said they didn't really see much benefit from it. But for sure, get the free options on both Zillow and homes.com. Okay, so here's again, I'm going to read this wrap up here as far as the no cost benefits of adding a Zillow 3D tour, an interactive floor plan to your listings, right? This is at a minimum what you get. You get a visibility boost two ways. One with a 7-day initial search results boost for your listing. When you go live for the first week, Zillow's algorithm sees you have a Zillow 3D attached to your listing, and you get boosted to the top of the search results, near to the top or the top of the search results. And I've got, let's see if I've got an example of that. Where is it? Yeah. Again, we added the Zillow 3D tour to, and I'll show you what this looked like before we added it and after we added it. And out of 351 search results, Lily's listing was number 1. So, and this is what she looked like without the Zillow 3D tour on the mobile app, which is how 80+% of people shop Zillow. Yeah, her information that you're seeing here was page 3 down in the facts and features section, and getting down to there was an amazing amount of schedule a tour, request a time, request a tour, contact agent, request a tour, which would have connected the buyer with whoever paid Zillow for this neighborhood, not Lily. Okay. So that's the challenge you guys are up against on the country's number 1 go-to shopping platform for real estate. Again, I'm not Zillow. This is their business model. And whatever your opinion of this is, I'll show you the fix. So by simply adding the Zillow 3D tour to this, it disables the request a tour button in the photo carousel. Okay. And instead, Lily is then presented on literally as you're navigating through every single photo, it tells you who the listing agent is. So, and it provides them with an artificial intelligence floor. So this is after we added the Zillow 3D tour to the listing. Okay. Provides them with an artificial intelligence floor plan that they can click around and navigate multiple ways. Most choose to go and click on the photo carousel up here. And as they cycle through the photos, Lily follows them. So you follow them around, and it gives the consumer a direct hyperlink access to your Zillow profile on Zillow. So if you're doing this, make sure you go into Zillow and update your profile on whatever cell phone number and website or email that you want consumers contacting you while still home shopping on Zillow. So, and I've had clients demonstrate this live in listing presentations. is killer. So say that consumer that is looking to do business with you, go, let me demonstrate one of the unique marketing propositions that I represent, and I hope you really think about, regardless of if you use me or not, in marketing this listing effectively on these big national platforms like Zillow. I have an active listing. Do you have the Zillow? You have the Zillow app. Please bring up 209 East Bayfront. They bring up on Zillow 209 East Bay. Start shopping through. They click the photos. Notice I'm following you around. Okay. Now you love my listing. Click view profile. Click call agent. And Lily's phone number will ring in that listing presentation. And the guys go, "You're still on Zillow." I mean, Lily would say, "You're still on Zillow, right?" Yes. So buyers have direct access to me while home shopping on Zillow to answer questions about this listing. Who on earth should answer questions about this listing but me, the listing agent? Versus currently, in most other listings on Zillow, it connects you with the Zillow contact center, who then connects you with whoever paid Zillow for this neighborhood, who knows nothing about this listing. Okay. So
That's the biggest hack you can do, right, Paolo?
yeah,
That's
I'm
it right
telling
there.
you, it's so effective. I mean, some client, of course, you might not have an active listing, but at least what you can do is very simply generate this little case study that I've done. All this is screenshots from Zillow, showing the landing page for your listing, then clicking on where it says floor plan. It would bring up the second slide, screenshot that, then go into the photo carousel by tapping that, say any of the photos, it'll bring up the photo carousel, and then tap the headshot, and it brings up listed by whoever you are. And again, click on view profile. It'll bring up your Zillow profile, and then just make sure that's up to date. So you can screenshot it from literally from your phone to generate one of these very easily. If I don't know what you work with, whether it's whether it's slides or whatever docs or whatever it is that you work with. It's really easy to generate these. Okay, so the benefits: 7-day boost, premium placements on Zillow. Special Zillow emails are pushed out to home shoppers shopping for similar listings in proximity to your listing. And quite frankly, that often is the local homeowners, the neighbors. When there's a new listing that goes on Zillow in their street, they're checking it out. This will profile them too. And again, it gets branded with you. So it becomes not only marketing for that listing, like incredible marketing for that listing, it becomes part of your branding campaign too. So this checks so many great boxes for you. Again, the property gets tagged, with the special 3D home tour. And as I showed you, all the studies show consumers are looking for homes that offer more marketing, immersive marketing for one listing versus another. And the more time somebody spends with a product, a home, it usually translates to transaction. So, and that could be, indicative of why those numbers are showing that homes are selling quicker and for more, the higher price point than listings without Zillow 3D tours. Okay, and then your branding is displayed on Zillow, right? And the consumer has direct access to you to ask questions about the listing. So here's another little slightly expanded explanation of the value and the benefits that you get. Again, all of this is free. All of these benefits are free, but to get my employees out there to get the spatial data that's needed to submit to Zillow, and we handle it all concierge, just so you know. So we come out, we do the photos, the video, whatever you've ordered from me, aerial, and then we will also put that all aside, those cameras aside, grab our spatial camera, and then get all the spatial data of that listing submitted to Zillow. And then they spend their engineering team has about a day to generate the AI floor plan and also a 2D floor plan of your listing. Where is that? I'll show you. So you also generate, that's the Jimi Hendrix property. Also, we also generate a pretty detailed 2-dimensional schematic of the listing. You can use this on the MLS. I highly recommend you add it if you are doing floor plans with your photos, because it's not lost on the algorithms and will show up on Redfin as this property has floor plans. Okay. And then let's see what else going back here. Again, you get the placement boost too on Zillow. It pushes over to Trulia. And it will also, I think I demonstrated here. So let me go back to this. So not only does it show up on Zillow, it also on day 2 magically shows up on Redfin too. And we only submit this to Zillow. We don't submit it to the MLS. We do provide our clients with the share link that they can add to the MLS, the unbranded share link. and the 2D floor plans on day 2. But when we submit this to Zillow, their engineering team, it shows up on Zillow immediately. Day 2, you get the AI floor plan, and you get the two-dimensional schematics for your brochures, your flyers, or the MLS. And also on day 2, it magically shows up in Redfin too, because they have a data share partnership with Redfin that not many people know about. And if you click on this, if you clicked on 3D tour here, it would bring up the Zillow 3D tour with Zillow disclaimers on a competing platform, which is Redfin. So that's a real head scratcher, but I won't get into that because I've gone so far over here. But I'm suspecting there may be some updates in 2025 involving those two platforms. But so the benefits to you goes to Zillow, it goes to Trulia, and it also pushes out to Redfin, showing up as a floor plan, 3D walkthrough with floor plan. So again, it's just a no-brainer, Kevin. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, it's if one of the few things, I mean, again, this is the trends report you guys will have access to with the summary. I'm trying to go through here quickly. So you'll have all of these slides to be able to demonstrate to potential clients, hey, I check all the significant boxes with my listings in regards to what consumers are looking for and what's in demand to make a decision in regards to one listing versus another. And again, it's not just condos and apartments. We're putting this on 10, 20, 40, $50 million properties, but absolutely clients are also adding it to leases too. So there's value in adding it even to leases. And here's the little blurb too that I'll leave you guys with, and I'll email this to you today, Kevin, so your agents have this, because I handle this on a daily basis. So I'm comfortable with the terminology and the concepts. This is more a suggestion. So, there's a disclaimer on here, but it kind of would help you articulate this, I think, in a somewhat succinct way to consumers, and you can even make this more abridged, because quite frankly, this is still too wordy for most consumers. You just see their eyes rolling back by the time you got to the third line. But kind of helps you better understand what I've just gone through, fairly quickly here. And then we do offer virtual staging. Yeah, we offer virtual staging. I would never, particularly for the main living areas of a home, I would never leave consumers with vacant space. There's so much research and so many studies that it's so beneficial to give them spatial understanding by virtually staging. If you don't have it in the budget to stage it, then at least virtually stage the photos. And we offer a variety. You'll go on the website and you'll see we have multiple great examples of contemporary, coastal, whatever, country, whatever your style is. We have multiple styles to choose from. Our 3D animation team is incredible. That's not the same property, but we have done, if you go on the website, there are some insane hoarding situations that our poor clients had to deal with. And as long as we're able to see the floor, we can digitally remove, we can remove it all and stage in your preferred style. And even say I've got a property, there was a very large, I think, Newport Coast. It was a beautiful home up in the hills in Newport Coast that they had all this French dark oak furniture. And my clients were like in such a situation with this client to explain to them that this is not helping their marketing. All this big, giant, clunky, furniture in the space. And they really were, so we digitally removed a lot of it to clean up and open up that space and put something more contemporary in there. So all this is possible with us, just, even if you're looking at digital remodel, we offer virtual remodel. Dated spaces, we can give it a completely different look. You're just going to have to put in the disclaimer section that, these are concept designs, so always check with your MLS expert on what is, what's needed. But the last time I spoke to the CRMLS attorney, as long as it's in the disclaimer section, they said they want it on the photos, but I said, okay, what is absolutely kind of necessary? They said, at least put it in the disclaimer section. So I'm sure you guys are all aware of that. And then we offer faux if you just don't have it in the budget for twilight photography. And I think our twilight photography is very reasonable. And when we do the simulated twilight conversion, we're guessing what that stucco looks like. And, which we try and look around to see where the landscape lights are to turn them on in Photoshop. But we're guessing. So it's not the same. It's close. But again, it's only $15 per photo for us to do this. And I've seen some other teams where they don't remove the highlights on the grass and it just looks terrible. Please don't do that. Rather, don't try to provide consumers with a twilight dusk look of the property if you're not going to do it right. So, whoever you're using. But here's a good example of this is the unprocessed photo at twilight, versus what it can look like with good, twilight photography using flash, etc.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
Paulo, we do need to wrap it up here, but this has been an amazing presentation. This is such important stuff. Bill, before we go, any quick takeaways from today's presentation?
Yeah, no, awesome stuff, Paulo. Understanding those new marketing concepts is it's just an absolute must. If you're going to separate yourself from the competition, you better be able to speak the language and sell yourself. And I really love the fact that you can really say that you've partnered with a world-class marketing and media company. What a way to basically sell yourself and what you're going to bring to your client experience and get the property sold. I will also say that I've sold a handful of listings in the past few years, from San Diego up here to Orange County, and I've used your services every single time.
Oh,
and it's very easy. It's honestly, the turnaround times are so fast. I think whatever you schedule I just go on their website, I log into my account, I schedule the tour. Usually I can get it done within a day or two of my required or my requested date. And typically the photographs already back edited in my email within 24 hours, typically. So I can't say it enough. I've used it myself. The photography comes back amazing. And so,
totally
this is a great.
that,
Yeah. So I'm a user. I'm a believer. I haven't used anybody since I started with you guys, and I really enjoyed your service. I appreciate you coming on today and elaborating, because I learned something today, and my wheels always turn, as Kevin knows. And I would really, really be trying to incorporate the fact that you can really leverage your opportunities with the partnership of a world-class media company, and all the examples that you provided of these high-level these really luxury properties that are in the double-digit seven figures. And even if you're not that agent, that doesn't matter. It just shows the kind of caliber of people you're working with. And even if it is the $700,000 condo or the single family, whatever, it doesn't matter. It just shows shows your clients that you're partnering with these types of quality people, and that's going to go a long way in your credibility and your ability to get more business and to sell yourself. So
absolutely. Yeah. And then and as a
100%.
previous client, I highly, highly recommend you add that Zillow 3D tour. And then if you track the analytics, you'll see the difference in performance, like when you add it. So that's a no-brainer. Add it, like, to previous clients and anybody that is, again, has an upcoming listing or an existing listing, add one of those and watch the difference. Because even if you've had one and it's live, all those individuals that have been looking at it have been profiled. When you add the Zillow 3D tour, then that email push goes out to those people. So sometimes a second look could make the difference. Also, if you got pressure from the seller, hey, what else are you doing for my listing? All right, I'm adding this. And then, you'll be able to explain to them why you're adding it, the marketing value it represents. So, and then of course, the basic services moving forward. But yeah, you gain it. If you're working with one of the top teams in this space, there's confidence there too, in regards to that confidence gets extended, of course, to you, that, okay, if they're doing this with photos, I got to trust they're doing this with all other aspects of the transaction. So, so yeah, I love it, Bill. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Paolo, thanks so much for coming on the webinar with us. We really appreciate it. Agents, make sure you use Paolo and his team. No excuses. We look forward to having you back on the webinar real soon, Paolo. So again, thank you so much.
All right, Kevin. I'll email you those slides today.
Much appreciated. All right, agents, get out there, make it a great day and a productive day, and we'll see you all on the webinar next week. Bye-bye.